Well, here we got the great big ginormous deck here. I don't really know how big that is. Gosh, that's a pretty good sized deck. Anyway, I've not used this deck, and I have 3 or 4 of them. But this one came with a tractor here, and I thought the spindles are nice and tight. I took the blades off and cleaned up some crap here, and sharpened the blades and greased the mandrels, or whatever. Yeah, mandrels I think they're called. And I'm going to take this white cover off here, and I like to clean the pulleys so that they're nice and shiny. This one's pretty good. When they're nice and shiny and clean, they don't eat the belts. If they're all rusty and mucked up, they tend to chew up the belts. I'd like to see what that belt looks like. It's a good time since I mean, we're right here right now. If that belt needs to be replaced, now's the time. Well, I've got this running. I've run it a couple times here. I think we got it figured out. The problem with the float I figured out, believe it or not. The replacement float that I bought, the brass one, I took it today and I filled up the carburetor bowl with gas to the proper level and just dropped the float in there into its position where it would sit. There's an airplane, I guess. There he is. Anyway. Yeah, I filled up the float the way it was supposed to be, and I put the bowl, or the brass float into the bowl, and lo and behold, it pretty much sunk. Now, I took another old, I had 2 or 3 other old brass floats, and I did the same thing. They didn't seem to be very buoyant. Now, when I took the fiber float, the original one, and put it in the same fuel, in the bowl, it was very, very buoyant. So basically, the problem, no matter what I did with the brass one, I almost got it to work, but the brass one just did not have enough buoyancy. It wasn't able to float as high and place enough pressure against the needle and seat. So once I got the fiber float installed, I had problems with that as well, and you had to really, really fine tune it. There was a real fine point between too much and too little, and it was either starving it out of fuel or it was flooding it. So I still am going to try and find another float. I can't believe I spent $30 on a float on eBay and it's not going to work for me. I think the only thing to do here is to try and get a factory replacement. So there is a Cummins dealer here in the Buffalo area that does sell factory owned and replacement parts, and we'll see how much they want to fleece me for that. I don't know how long this original float's going to last, so I guess we'll find out. So I tortured myself with that for about 3 hours today, playing with that. I don't have a clue how many hours I have spent on this one simple problem, but it's been a long time. So. Alright, so it's like, what is it, 9 o'clock? I just put my kids to bed. Yeah, it's a little after 9. Let's see if this grimy thing will start, huh? My neighbors are going to love me. have it tuned, and I probably, after all that fuel getting into there's a ton of raw fuel getting into the cylinders. Probably got the spark plugs all fouled, so I could use some new plugs probably. But we'll get it tuned up here. I'd like to get the valves adjusted, but I don't think we're going to do that right now. My grass is probably 4 or 5 inches tall, and I really need to get it cut, so that's what I'm trying to get done. Try to make that thing run good enough to just deck on her and see what happens. Oh, I forgot to put the blade down. My dad used to always tell me when we were kids to, anytime you were on a tractor, always put the implements down. Only makes good sense to not get some kid caught under there. The kids play, and especially my kids, and then drop that down on somebody's foot, what have you. So I don't know what the heck this is from. It's blue and white. It almost seems like it's from a Suburban. So yeah, I don't know. But I have a couple of decks, like I said. This one seemed reasonable enough, so we're going to give her a try. The one I was using last year didn't have these wheels on it. But 2 out of the 3 decks that I have the wheels. And I got brand new replacement wheels. And a bunch of other parts. So yeah, I saw these wheels go for, I want to say $55 on eBay for the brackets and the wheels. That's crazy. So it's an old scissor lift. It's not that hard to put in, but just got to take off the plow, hook up the 4 pins, and then you have to take this, I don't know what the heck you call that thing. I think they call it a, no, shit, I don't know what the hell they call it. Stab that thing in here with the in the front of the tractor, and then put it through the belt guard and what have you, and away you go. I'll get the oil changed and get her ready. I think be in pretty good shape.